Okay, I'm recording. Cool. All right, so welcome to week 2. All right, we're just going to get started here. So let's just kind of talk a little bit about the call that we did last week. So the homework and all the great tips. So share maybe just a few things or a quick tip that you got from the call that you were like, I love this and I want to do this, or that you thought was interesting.
For me,
Go ahead.
cross-selling.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes they forget like that we can cross sell or what items. So it's always good to think about what type of items could you cross sell. If you start talking about the salad chopper, well, what could you cross sell? A couple of you guys are outside and super windy. Just make yourselves unless you're talking. Anybody else? Oh, come on. Don't make me pick on people. What other tips did you guys like from the call?
I got out of it, one of the things, I guess, is knowing your features and your benefits, the difference between the two.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's something, it's good sometimes take a sheet of paper, list a few products, and practice. Okay, what is the feature? And then what's the benefit of that? So I always think of like the cookware, one of the features, it's made with aluminum, which the feature or the benefit of that is even cooking, great absorber of heat, things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else, guys, that you took away from the call?
I like the I sorry, joining late here. I really like the idea of sending out the recipes because I know plenty of times I've purchased the products and completely forgot what they made or did with it or what other options I have until later.
Yep. Yeah, so that's just making them fall in love with the product even more, which then makes our jobs easier because now they're at the next party maybe, if they're at it and or different things like that, is they're going to brag about that product and how much they love it. So yeah, using your people. So, okay. All right, move on. So now that, I mean, this is one way, obviously, that you've learned a few selling skills. There are other great ways to learn more about the products and tools out there. But hopefully get you excited about some of the products so that way you can talk about while you're out and about. So it's kind of a little bit more natural way to get bookings is by talking about the products that you guys love so much too and wanting other people to get them for hopefully discounted or free then. So again, once you're educated about the products, then you can help change lives. So I just think so much of, knowing the fact that by helping people get around the table quicker and faster with these better and amazing products, there's some fun facts here that are listed here. So children who sit around the table tend to have better SAT scores, better interviewing skills, less apt to do drugs, smoke, or drink just because they have dinner together. So knowing that fact, how does that make you guys feel in the sense that you can help people get dinner around the table quicker and faster to then help them in the long run? How does that make you guys feel that you guys could have that kind of an impact?
That's huge. I think of my own family and how much more even in the last couple months that I've cooked instead of everybody just kind of grabbing what they want to grab. With 5 kids in the house, it's never ending at our house. But we've definitely had way different meals now. And I've made a big point of everybody has to be at the table instead of wherever they're sitting before.
Right. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, I just think it makes such a big impact. It helps them even with social skills, especially these days. Everyone's on their electronics, and so just being able to talk to other people and who best to work on that than with your family. versus with strangers, and then you look like probably an idiot because you don't know how to talk to people. So yeah, definitely a way to help them, even just with those types of things. Definitely something to think about. And just, yeah, when I read that too, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Okay, we'll just kind of keep moving here. And so some of the ways when you're out and about, just to share your about the products and the booking, things like that, is by wearing logo wear. So whether you have a Pampered Chef bag, a tote, wearing your name badge, if you're really bold and crazy, maybe your apron too, you know, attract people's eyes towards you. Maybe a less intimidating way, carrying a Pampered Chef cookbook. I've done that before where I've had a cookbook out and about and I'm like looking for different things, and even that, just having a cookbook out there, like, why is someone carrying a cookbook? And they're curious. And so it's kind of a way for them to hopefully ask a question before you have to go to them and ask them, say, hey, what do you think about brownie mix? Which brand should I pick? So definitely. But yeah, so it's super crazy, but it's a really great way to get some out and about contacts. Yeah, so just kind of doing those things. So here's some other ideas too, but just even thinking about, if you're especially in a grocery store, obviously they need to eat, and we have some great tools to help them with that. So just even thinking before Pampered Chef, maybe how many of you guys struggled with getting dinner on the table because you didn't know what tools to have, you didn't know what recipes to pick, and we've got really all of that. So it's really, in a sense, it's not about what can they do for me, it's what you can do for them. So it's not you gotta put away selfish things, and just be willing to share. They can say no, and that's fine. I know we don't like to hear it, but it's gonna happen, and that's okay. But it's about offering them something more. Like I just said, you know, offering them the products to help them get their families around the table and help all those future results too. Does this scare anybody right off the bat, this idea of like doing some out and about contacts and talking to people about making a brownie and what ingredients to use? Does this scare people? Some of you are like, I don't know, kind of. This is weird. That is just fine. I totally get it. I think it's the same thing with the phone. It scares the pants off me sometimes, and you got to kind of talk yourself up and then just do it. And after you're done, you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. I could do it again. So practice makes perfect. But all right. So here are some things that you can say when you are doing out and about contacts and getting people's information. So again, talking about if you're doing brownies, be like, what brownie mix do you think I should use in this recipe? Just acting dumb. It's great. But that could hopefully lead into, you know, maybe like, oh, that looks like a really great recipe. Where'd you get that from? And be like, well, have you heard of Pampered Chef? So whatever fits, I mean, you got to do whatever's natural to you too, as far as bringing the Pampered Chef up. Many times they love Pampered Chef. And so then this is when you can say, oh, would you like a product flyer? So if you have mini catalogs, those are really great. They're not bulky. So that's a really great thing to pass out. And then even then just saying, well, I'd love to follow up with you. And I know that can be very scary to do that, but you always have to have sticky notes then is the best way to do it, or drawing slips with you. I know some people, what they'll do is they'll say, hey, I have a drawing at the end of each month. I would love to get you in on this drawing. So it's kind of maybe a less intimidating way of like, I'm going to be a creeper and get your information and follow up with you tomorrow. So it's then not about, again, you so much, but about helping them maybe get some free products too. So it's always good though, you really want to follow up with them in the next day or two, because especially since you met them out and about and a little bit more, not as personal, maybe as like a party, they're going to lose interest 10%, you know, every day. So the sooner, the better. But the drawing slips or the Post-it notes are really the best way to get their information. And then using something like you do a monthly drawing too. So a little less scary. But again, you're there to help them. So, and then if you're like in the checkout line too, you could even say something like, I've done this before too, where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to try this recipe. And they're like, oh, what recipe are you trying? Well, I'm doing brownies and stuff. Have you heard of Pampered Chef? And so again, just another way of getting even in the checkout line too, if you're not doing it in the aisles too. So of course, if they get really excited, to offer them a party, to be a host and help them get some free products instead. So it can be pretty easy sometimes too. I've actually got someone at Hy-Vee before to book a party from me. So someone when I was mailing stuff out, when I was mailing some packets and stuff. So you can do it. It definitely does happen. So you just got to be a little bit prepared as far as what, if that comes up, what are you going to do? So it's good to practice maybe ahead of time with someone. So it's always good to be prepared with your 20-second commercial. I think for some of us that work full time and do this, I know I struggle with that because people say, oh, what do you do? And I'd be like, oh, I work in financial aid. It's really important to tell everyone I work in financial aid and I sell Pampered Chef. That's one way to do it. That's a little more blunt, but I know some people will make it a little more fun. And just say, I help create mealtime memories with quality tools and tasty recipes. And then they may say, oh, how do you do that? Well, by selling Pampered Chef or through Pampered Chef even. So again, just showing busy families how to get dinner on the table in less than 30 minutes. So here are some great examples. And you just have to figure out what works best for you and what's comfortable. Some of these won't be comfortable for you, and that's okay. So just even practicing, a quick 1-sentence, 2-sentence line that can help you tell about what you do. So do any of these jump off the slide that you guys are like, ooh, I really like that one? Besides just saying, oh, I sell Pampered Chef. Jessica, Cassie, don't make me call on you. I already am.
Well, I do like the one that show business or busy families how to prepare a meal quickly and be around the table in about 30 minutes. That's a cool way to say it. And to even bring that up in a show would be awesome too. To do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a more why you're doing it too. Why are you doing Pampered Chef? Because you're helping people. Yes, we're making income along with that, but it's so much more about helping families and getting them together rather than, we're all have our moments, we're all over the place, but really helping them bring families together.
Exactly. Because I'm in such a habit of just saying, oh, I sell Pampered Chef. So those are some good ideas, definitely.
Yeah. Keeps the conversation going sometimes.
Yep.
Okay, so many times, you tell people, oh, I sell Pampered Chef, and they go, I love Pampered Chef, right? It's very rare that you'll be like, oh, I'm a lawyer. And people are like, oh, I just love lawyers, right? Nobody does that. That is absolutely silly. So, don't be afraid to say what you do or that you help people put, meals on the table in less than 30 minutes. So I don't think I've ever heard someone go, oh my gosh, Pampered Chef is awful. Like that is, who would ever buy that? Or who would ever do something like that? I've just never heard that. And so be excited and be passionate and proud of what you guys do. So you are truly helping bring families together quicker and faster, and even getting kids in the kitchen and helping their moms or dads make the meals too. So it goes further than just even bringing them around the table. So get excited, people. Okay, so that's a little bit more about getting those bookings out and about a little bit, which of course I think is probably the scariest thing for most people, but that's where you got to do the hardest things first, and really just get them out of the way and get that practice going. So let's talk about getting bookings then at your shows. And so bookings are really the heart of your business because you're not getting bookings, you don't have shows. If you don't have shows, you can't get bookings type thing. So it's just a circle. The magic number is 2. So you really want to get 2 at each show. So the 2 cooking, if you're cooking, if you do cooking parties, you really want 2 cooking parties, and then 1 catalog is kind of like gravy. If you're a virtual type person, you really want at least 2-3 years, probably even better for virtual people. And the idea behind the 2 is that you have 1 to replace that show, 1 to grow. Not only that, but every once in a while you're going to get cancellations. So 2 is good as well. Because if you're only getting 1, what if that 1 cancels on you? Things like that. So it's always good to work on that too. So here are a few things in order to ensure to get 2. So this is a little bit more geared towards cooking, but I'm going to talk a couple of different ways for the virtual people as well. I do a little bit of both. So host coaching, I think that's important no matter what. Whether cooking, virtual, doesn't matter. You need to host coach. And so you can get, some people do some of their host coaching by with a little incentive. So they might say to their host, if you get 2 bookings before the party starts, so if my virtual party starting on Friday, if my cooking show's on that Saturday, by that Saturday. So whenever the party starts, if you get 2 bookings by then, I'll give you an extra $10 in Pampered Chef bucks. I will give you a scraper. I will give you a citrus peeler. I mean, whatever you want to do, that's totally up to you and your business. Showing up on time. Now, this is definitely more true for cooking, getting there about that half an hour ahead of time. For virtual parties, it's being attentive. If someone's asking questions, it's being present, being able to answer those at a fairly decent time. I try to, for virtual, only check my stuff, around noon and maybe after work. So it might happen a couple days, but don't let 2 or 3 days go by without answering a question on virtuals. Making sure all your dishes are clean for cooking. Nothing's more gross than about, using some of the utensils that your consultant brought and they're disgusting. Who wants to put food in that? Make sure you're dressed appropriately. Now, this is nice for virtuals. Many times you don't see your face, but if you do a live video, just make sure you dress nice. You don't have to overdo it and go super crazy, but at the same time, maybe not look like you just got done working out or doing yard work like myself today. So just make sure you're dressing appropriately. Smell good. No one likes bad odor, right? Continuing just to talk about the high price products, you really want to do that throughout the party, or I start both my virtual parties a little bit that way too, and my cooking parties by talking about them, just creating that desire. Some people are going to outright pay for them, but it creates a desire of, I really want that, but I can't afford it. That's a great way to host a party, get it for free or discounted, things like that. Making your host feel special and appreciated. When they feel special, that just, they're not afraid to brag about that either. Be like, this was so easy. This was so much fun. Like, she just really, I don't know. Yeah. She gave me a cookbook and, just, she worked with me and she just really thought I did such a good job, things like that. They're not afraid to brag about that. At the same time, if you give them a negative feeling, they're not afraid to say that either. So just make sure you give them a good positive experience too. So I talk about, especially at my cooking shows too, is in my intro, I talk about bookings right away. So yeah, you just really need to. And I will even say, I changed it up to even say I have a goal. We have a goal tonight of getting 2 bookings for Yvette's party or whoever's party it is. And then sprinkling it out throughout the demo. You could even say, hey, wouldn't this be great to get this for free at your party? Or wouldn't it be great to try this type of recipe at your party? So that's some ways to do that, especially if you're station style. And then again, at the closing too. And that's when I explain the benefits of what's coming up. So what are the July host benefits? What are the August host benefits? So using door slip prizes, walking them through each box. Sometimes if you just say fill it out, they're going to skip stuff. So it's good to walk through each of it. So doing the 3-pile checkout or the full service checkout, asking every single guest. So that's when you usually ask, every single guest first if they have any interest in the business, what intrigued them, then asking them if they want to host a party, things like that. But also being able, I think what can be very tricky is handling objections. So what are some common objections that you guys get for people not wanting to book a party, whether virtual or cooking?
I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have enough friends.
And what are some ways you guys might respond to the I don't have time or I don't have enough friends? Do you guys know how you would respond? Or what are some brainstorming ideas that you have right now that come off the top of your head? Anyone have any thoughts of either or? You don't have to share them both. You can just share them one. Okay, so I'll give you some of my ideas then. If someone were to tell me they don't have time, typically I try to get rid of these objections before they even come to me. So one way I might do that is at the beginning of my show, I might say, I know a lot of people don't have time for this, but isn't this a great way to get friends together? So I try to nip it in the butt before the question even comes up or before they even give me that response, so they can't. Now, if I didn't do that and they give me that response, I might just say, oh, maybe a catalog show or an online party might be better for you. You know, you could be at home, you can go on when you want, it's more convenient. So that might be a way to do it. If you're really wanting to get that cooking show though too, you might just say, well, it only takes, it's only one night that we'd have to pick. And then just, you have to get out the invitations as well. So I might give you a couple calls for about 10, 15 minutes each, and then that's about it. So trying to make it simpler, or even saying, I will help you with that. I will help you work on the invitations. And that might even just be helping them brainstorm people. So just trying to make it sound really easy. What was the other one again? I already forgot. What'd you say, Julia? What's the other one? You don't have time and you don't have friends?
Don't have enough friends.
Don't have enough friends. So that's typically, and I'll have that too, or I've had people say they don't have enough friends. I'll be like, oh, well, you can invite coworkers or past coworkers, family, if they have a spouse, your spouse's coworkers, your hometown friends, maybe people when you grew up, maybe some of your newer friends. So that's one way to do it. Sometimes I'll still get, well, they don't live around here. I'll be like, well, that's fine. Even if we just have a few people, and I'll of course work with them later on it, but even if we have just a few people that can show up to your party, we can do an online portion first. Or again, for those that are virtual, you can just offer the virtual because you can invite anyone across the whole country. So that's another great way to help overcome those objections. I think another common one is I'm too busy. I don't have time, and I've kind of touched base on that one too. Or I hear, oh, not now. So this is that question there in number 10 where it's like, oh, does now not work? Or maybe does, August, is that a better time, or the end of July here? And they'll be like, oh yeah, in a couple of weeks will be fine. It's like, I'm not asking you to book a party tomorrow, honey. Like a week or two is just fine, or August is fine. So it's typically just asking, if they're just like, I'm not sure, now just doesn't seem to be a good time. They want you to help them overcome that objective. And so you just got to keep going with that. You're not being pushy. You're just trying to help them. Many times they'll even say, well, I just want to make sure that Julia gets the credit for this. So even if we book within the next 6 months, just pencil it in, she'll still get the credit. Do you still want to, would you be interested in that? And many times they'll be like, oh yeah, September or October works better. And I'll get the date booked in. Now, like I said, number 11, if they say no to cooking, they can always do a virtual too. For some people, obviously that's all you want to do, and that's fine too. And then asking for referrals too. I've done this before. I say, well, do you know anybody that'd be interested? And sometimes they'll say, oh, let me think about it. And I just simply tell them, oh, not a problem. Do you mind if I follow up with you tomorrow? You have to follow up with them. They're not gonna get back to you more than likely. I have had someone on the spot give me a referral once though too. So that does happen sometimes. Yeah. And then using your host too. They're going to get 50% off items at the future, shows. And so you can say, hey, if you get 2 people, you're going to get 50% off at each of their parties as well. So that can be sometimes of a tool as well. Again, offering incentives to the guests or the host. So when you book a party tonight, I'm going to give you something for free. When we get 3 parties booked, our host is going to get something for free. So things like that. So, or when you book in the month of July, I'm going to bring the ingredients. Things like that. Just knowing again about your products, that whole video about selling and just continually learning. There's lots of ways to learn about the products besides just going online and reading about them. Do some YouTube videos. Come to the team meetings. We usually are trying out products. So if you don't have it all, that's okay. I don't have it all either. So don't be afraid to do that, to just keep learning. And those high dollar items too can help create interest in booking too. Or since this month is Rock Crocs at the beginning of the month, if you need more shows, work on doing recipes in the Rock Crock, demoing, do live videos about the Rock Crock, so you can create interest in getting bookings for this month. If you need more bookings for August, talk about the cookware. What are the benefits of cookware? You know, things like that. Knowing the products that are coming up that will be at 60% off and bragging about them, essentially, creating that interest about them. Smile a lot, have fun. No one wants an Eeyore, everyone wants a Tigger. So just have a lot of fun. Everyone will notice. Knowing your calendar is super important too. It's super important that you know what your next 2 available dates are. So I know I usually have to have my calendar up here, but I typically know when my next 2 dates are. So for the month of August, I'm booking on the 11th and 25th. So I already know that's when I want to book for August. I'm not taking any more virtual parties for July, so unless they're doing cooking, I don't talk about July anymore. So again, just giving them the 2 options as well really helps. Does a weeknight or weekend work better, especially if you're doing cooking parties? If you're doing virtuals and you're like me, I start every other Friday, so again, I give them that 8th and the 25th. Okay, that's a lot of tips, people. I know, right? So just doing positive affirmations too. So I have a sticky note in my bathroom inside the cover that just says, I'm a booking magnet. Everyone wants to have a party with me. So just believing in yourself that you will get 2 bookings from every show. You just really have to believe in yourself. And part of it is you fake it till you make it a little bit, or till you believe it. So by saying it at first, maybe you don't believe it, but just keep saying it. Eventually you are going to believe it. You're going to have success. When you have success, that builds on your belief. So just keep telling yourself you're great at it, because you will be great at it then. If you tell yourself you're crappy at it, you'll be crappy at it. So just really believe in yourself. Okay, so again, we're just going to look at the 4 pillars here. So last week, we discussed the belief system. So just really want you to strengthen, again, that belief in our 3 opportunities. So the opportunity to purchase, the opportunity to book a show, and the opportunity to join one of the fastest growing teams in the Midwest. Woohoo! So really each morning too, that's why I put my affirmations in my bathroom, because that's the first place I go in the morning. So just being able to help remind yourself right away in the morning, okay, how many bookings am I going to get? I am awesome. I'm a booking magnet. Whose life am I going to change? I am a recruiting magnet. Yeah, so I am great at asking people to join my team. I believe that everyone should be a part of this amazing business. So again, just building your belief by using those affirmations. Okay, so just really having a passion and believing in the booking opportunity. I think and you guys, I want you to share too, but like, what do you guys think is so amazing and awesome about our host program? What gets you so excited about our host program? Whether you're hosting a party sometimes as a consultant, or maybe for someone else that might be hosting. What is so awesome about our program? Go.
How much they get and how easy it is to move around. Like if they want that piece, you know what? I had a host last week. She's like, well, I planned out for the $200 and her party was almost $500. And she's like, I get all of this. And she had 2 bookings off of it. And I'm like, yep, that's 2 for 50% off items, you know, one at each of their parties. And so she was totally excited. And she's like, I have to find more stuff to get.
That's always a fun problem when they're like, I don't even know. I didn't think I could get this much. Yeah, definitely. What else? What else is so great about our host reward program?
It's easy to understand.
Yeah. So much and free. Half offs. Absolutely.
The 10% all year.
Yep. The fun doesn't stop after the party. Got fun for the next year. Anything else?
The future booking discount, so that, you know, if their friends book, then they get another item half off.
Yep. Anything else? I think what's so great, we can choose, our hosts get to choose anything in the catalog, anything for their free, anything for their half off. It's not limited, which I think is super great. Yeah, I just really, really love that. So, that they can choose anything. And then they put some sets together so that way you're not using as many half offs either if you want. So, or that you can use half offs on sets. So, I mean, it just doesn't limit you, which I just absolutely love and think is fan-sticking-tastic. So, get excited about that stuff, people. But yeah, you really just want to get excited and passionate about that. The idea that, oh my gosh, do you realize that if you have a $500 party, you could get this for free? Like, you could get our stainless mixing bowls for free. You could get our deep cover baker for like free. Things like that. How great is that? And that takes about how many orders? So it's always good to know, too, that takes maybe about 8 to 12 orders, something like that maybe. So breaking it down for them, making it super, I think, easy too. Like you guys said, it's, it can be pretty easy. People love Pampered Chef. You just have to brag about the products to get the great host rewards in a set. So, yeah, and then you just really want to even encourage them, like, how much fun is this going to be at your party? Even virtual parties. I've had a lot of people fill out my survey saying how much fun they had. So you can have fun whether it's a cooking party or a virtual party. You really want to paint that picture for them. Like, they'd be crazy not to book because it's so much fun and all the free. So, and then of course, painting a picture for them to join your team too, because who wouldn't want to get more free products and an income with it too? All right. So I love Pampered Chef. But it's just that idea that I want you guys, if you have a pen and paper by you, just kind of write these answers down and just answer honestly. So and answer yes or no. So are you passionate about your products? Are you passionate about booking shows? Are you passionate about sharing our business opportunity? So those are our three things we have to offer. So whether you are passionate or maybe you're not passionate, it's going to show. People will see that either way. So if you're really excited about products, people are going to get excited with you. If you're excited about booking, people will get excited with you. And then same with the business. If you're excited about the business and what it has to offer, people will get excited with you. So just keep that in mind too. And of course, knowledge helps. So as you learn more too, that helps with that passion too. So it's okay if you answered no too. That's something we'll continue to work on. Okay. So if you don't have that passion, how are ways that you can help get that passion up? So attend national conference. If you haven't signed up yet, you still can. Woohoo! So there are still time for that. That is a really great way to build your passion. You don't come back from conference the same person. Your belief is not going to be the same from the moment you go there to the moment you come back. It's going to grow. That's going to help you a lot. Going through Pampered Chef University, if there's a certain area that you're not as passionate about, go learn more about that specific area. Watch YouTube videos. There's a ton out there. Pampered Chef has their own site, subscribe or whatever, so you subscribe to their links and watch their videos too. So there's really great ways. There's also a ton of consultants that have put out videos as well about all different areas of the business too. Playing with your tools at home, seeing other people play with them. Same thing with the team meetings, because that's what we do. We play with the tools there too. So that's a really great way to get your hands on. So listening to training calls. Find your batter bowl buddy. Okay, so I honestly don't even know what this means, but I would assume, I was asking Janelle, like, what does that mean, batter bowl buddy? And so my interpretation of it is going to be that you find someone else who's really excited about a certain area. So maybe they're really excited about batter bowls or spiralizers, something like that, or you get together with them and you guys help each other become passionate about the products. help each other become passionate about bookings. So whatever area maybe you lack in, that you guys can just work together and help get each other fired up. So sometimes when you hear someone talk about like, oh, I love the Spiralizer, this is why I love it, and you're like, oh, that's so cool, and it gets you excited. Going to finding a fair booth to work. So people are going to come up to your booth and just be like, oh my gosh, I love Pampered Chef. And it can just really help build that confidence and passion as well. So we actually don't do recipe nights anymore, so that's a little old. But again, anytime we do any demos, or we kind of combined it with our team meeting, but that's a great way too. And then finding a PC mentor. So that could be your director or someone to help you, again, with the area maybe that you're not as passionate about. Okay, that was a lot. I do have one thing I want to show you if we have time, but I'm going to ask if you guys have questions first. What questions may you have, or something that you're like, this is awesome, I'm going to so do this today. And then I'll share the homework here. Any questions? Even if it's about overcoming objections, or I don't know, anything at all. Okay, well, if you come up with them, let me know. Still answer them. Okay, so for homework, we're going to continue talking about bookings. And so you're going to want to listen to Abundant Bookings with Susan Warshay and Missy Outs. This is, and then again, you'll share your 5 takeaways. And so this, again, is going to be under that Pampered Chef University, under peer sharing. So this is how you get there. So PCU, bookings, peer sharing. If you can't find it, let us know. And so then the next part of the homework that you'll want to share with your director, how many bookings will you commit to booking? How many shows will you commit to booking this week? How many out and about contacts will you commit to this week? So that's something to think about. And then setting up that call again with your director. And so after a few days here, how many leads did you get? How many bookings did you get? What were the sales of any parties maybe you had? What did you have trouble with? So that's always good to bring to your directors. They'll help you through that. And something to brag about. It's always good. I feel like when you brag about yourself, I know that's really hard, especially as women, but I think it can really make you think like, oh gosh, I did do good at that, or look what I did. And so you see that success, which just can help with your belief even more, and help with your passion. And we'll put this out there too, so don't feel like you have to scramble and write this all down either. Okay, so thanks guys for attending. I'm going to show you guys, I think, okay. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. So if you guys need to go, that's fine, but I just want to show you guys this. For outside orders and if virtual parties, how I follow up with my booking. So you guys, I'm sure, have seen my script out there on the Cooking with Success. But when you get outside orders in, you get this like alert or notification. So for me, so when I know I've talked to all of my people, this is empty. So I don't mark them off until I've talked to them and done my full service checkout. So I've asked them, hey, did you love your products? Did you have any questions? Have you ever thought about doing something like this? Have you ever thought about having your own party and getting products for free? You know, those questions. And then telling them about the 30-day money-back guarantee. So I do not clear this until I've had the full conversation. So some people are super easy to clear because I call them because it's quick, easy, 3 minutes. I have all my questions answered. I'm done. If I can't get a hold of them, I'll Facebook message them, text them, things like that. But then sometimes it stops mid conversation. I'll get the asking about recruiting, and then I'll ask them about booking, and they won't respond to me sometimes. So I'll just sometimes send them a message later and be like, hey, just wanted to see if you got my last message. And yeah, this is a good way for me to do this. So once I've done that, I will check this and clear. The other way is I actually go into their name, and I will not mark send newsletter, e-newsletter until, again, I've talked to them. So that's just this organization system I use, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys that as well. So that's what it looks like, you know, once you're in the show, you get all those alerts from outside orders. So that's one of my ways. And I get tons of bookings from using that script too out there. So always give it a shot. I think the phone call's easier. Sometimes I can hear in their voice when they're hesitating, like, well, I'm not so sure. And then that's where I know, okay, well, if you were to do a party, would August or September work better? Again, the whole 2 options things really helps. I hope that was helpful. But any other questions about that or anything else? You guys are so quiet today. Must be the holiday weekend. Otherwise, we'll post the out there. Does someone have a question? Sorry, I didn't know someone was talking. We'll post the
I liked
homework.
your stuff. I liked your stuff, Carrie, on objection. That was good.
Thanks.
I can't wait to use it.
Yeah, I think it can be really hard. I think that's where people get stumbled. I know at the last team meeting, I shared one of my conversations that I had with someone, and most people were like, what? I would have stopped way sooner than that. And I think I used to be scared that I was being pushy. I used to be scared that they would be like, gosh, lay off, lady. You know, like I thought they would think I'm crazy. And I've just really learned to get over that. I don't think, even if they end up saying no to me by the end of it, I've never had anyone get upset at me or anything like that. It's just truly helping them. That's how I see it. You know, they're going to tell me, you know, now's not a good time. Like, I'm just so busy right now. I can't even, that's the last thing I can even think of right now. And I say, absolutely not a problem. I agree with them first because I completely understand, right? We've all had our busy moments. So then that's where I go on, though, to say, well, when might be a better time? And they might still say, you know, I honestly don't know. And I'll then still continue and say, well, would August or September be a good time? You know, again, just offering them my next 2 available dates. Now, if my July, to me, I'm fine where my July's at. My July's booked the way I want it to. So at the same time, I'm not going to reject a party. But, you know, that's, if I needed bookings for July yet, I'll be like, well, does the end of July still work? Or does July work at all? And they might say no, but then that's where I'm going to book them in August. I'm going to get my August then full. Still always concentrate on the month you're trying to book too. And always giving them that 2 options. Or I even will tell them too, like, well, we can just pencil it in. If we need to change it, because I know how life gets, that's not a problem. Do you mind just penciling in so Julia gets the credit? And many times they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can help her out. They see it as helping their host out too. But at the same time, they want free products. So it's a good way for them to come up with an excuse to convince themselves to have a party. You know, it's just continuing the conversation until they say no. Now, some people will flat out, I'll say, hey, are you interested at all in getting some free products? They're like, no, thanks. I'm not going to push them. So, and I'll say, not a problem. Just so you know, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you change your mind ever and want free products, just let me know. I kind of keep it simple too. So I don't push everybody. I don't continue a conversation with everybody. But if they're like, well, maybe not at this time, I'll push them a little bit. So hopefully that helps. Okay. I think we're good unless anybody has questions.
I have one.
Yes, Kay, did you say something?
Yep, I have one.
Yes.
I often hear, oh, I'm not really a salesperson when offering them the party or the business opportunity.
Yeah, I would honestly tell them you don't have to be a salesperson. The product sells themselves, and many times your guests are going to sell to each other. That's one of my responses I would say to them too. Or don't worry about that. If they're a host, I would say don't worry about that. I will be the one talking about the products and helping them, and your guests will share about the products they love too. So you just have to share about the products you love. You don't have to try to sell anybody anything. Those are maybe some of the responses I would say. Julia or Crystal, I don't know if you're still on here, but do you guys have any other suggestions? Julia might have left. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. that's typically what I would say too. I wouldn't say that I sell products to people. I inform them. You know, I'm simply telling them, this is what this pan's made of. This is why it's great. And then that's it. I don't say, oh, you really need to get this. Sometimes I will if they're telling me about a problem in their kitchen. And I'd say, oh, this would really help you in your kitchen. This would help you chop up these onions faster without crying. Or you hate touching garlic. Oh, our garlic press is great because you don't have to peel it first. You can just press it. So it's just telling them the features and the benefits, that whole idea of just explain that to them. They can choose. Now, someone asked me, well, do you like the food chopper or the manual food processor better? I will honestly tell them, you know, honestly, I prefer the manual food processor, and here's why. It holds more. It has a lid. It can do sauces. It's easy. I don't have to bang it so hard. So I'm just going to tell them why I love it. Then they can choose. Many times, because the food chopper's been around longer, they will still maybe choose that, and that's fine. But I'll have people buy the manual food processor otherwise. It's a choice. I still let them have a choice. I don't want them to feel pressured like, oh my gosh, you have to get the manual food processor. Or I'm telling you to get the manual food processor because it's more expensive. I mean, it is, but I think it's still way better. That's just my personal opinion, you know? And I give them reasons why. I don't just tell them, oh, you have to get the manual food processor. I tell them why I like it better, why it works for me. So then I don't feel like I'm being pushy about what they need to buy. I'm giving them the options, and they can weigh the pros and cons. Yeah. Any other questions you guys have? Or you just want to stare at me? No, it's okay. Well, if there's no more questions, we'll put out the homework too. Yeah. And then we'll see you guys next Monday too. Make sure you set up your call with your director. Jessica, we're good to go. Not worried about that. So, yeah. All right. See you guys later. Have a great Monday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, hon.